Okay, so now Cordova's wing hits, and it starts really cracking into the line. The cav came down, chased the remainder of the defenses that were back here, and you see the infantry itself crunching across the barricades. The center already went. They didn't get much traction. You see some movement there. Both have flipped themselves into receive charge, try to rally their forces, try to get them into a better position. But I still launched fire from this formation broken unit, and that's like a -3 to the fire, just because I had this angle in here. And if I started rallying the formation, or reforming the formation, these guys would get shots, those guys would get shots. There was a chance that unit could get shot up to the point where it wasn't effective. So I wanted to gain the terrain that I could. These guys ran into a fire, but they can't be meleeed because they're not in the center. Alright, I think that's going to fling us over to the Protestants. That whole Protestant left cav wing, that's gone. The right wing, it's down to the 1 unit, remember? So we're pretty much down to 1 unit for the Protestants here. I'll probably end up taking this guy to slow things up unless I see some opportunity here that I really want to take before this cav moves, which seems like nil. Okay, we're at the end of the line, but I noticed something for the 5th turn, but I noticed something that happened a little weird there. I've got artillery that I unlimbered behind a hill, basically. I would have never done that if vision wasn't impaired there, so I'm going to leave them limbered, hiding behind that hill. Somehow, I'm hoping that I didn't see this as a depression and actually ever fire through it. I think I actually may have. Anyway, we'll leave it as it is. It'll give them a chance to reset up or something. There was a reason I had to pick this first, which was that Baden-Durlach was in rally, so I had to go here first. A little bit of artillery fire, a little bit of fire against here, attempt to rally. For the most part, not a lot of effectiveness. Some fire that may have caused a casualty here and there with the skirmishers, but they're not tremendously effective. They can't really pound the enemy the way a heavy infantry can. And these units are big and high enough morale that unless they collect a couple of hits, they're not gonna even become shaken from it. Then going over to our left cav wing here, well, that did a reform, then it converted into charge. Meanwhile, Tilly's rallying stuff back here when I can remember. Launched an attack against Baden-Durlach, wiped him out, and that knocks him over here into the check. He's an important figure in this field, is worth more points. I think he's worth 10 points rather than the 0 that his leadership ability would inform. So we got to check to see if he dies, which is likely, of course. And okay, he's going to shift to next turn. This is something I gotta remember has happened, but he has a replacement for now. Now he doesn't actually get a replacement, I don't think, because his only purpose in the game at this point is to serve as army commander. So although I've got a couple of named replacements for him, I don't think that they can serve as temporary army commander in this case. That would make little sense. So I'm just gonna hold him off. He's going to come back and be permanently serving as army commander because he no longer has a wing. But otherwise, we're down to Helmstadt here. I can look up to see if his replacement can serve in that purpose, but I don't think that's important if he's not dead. We also have this colonel who really doesn't matter at all. I'm just going to replace him because all that's going to happen is another colonel's going to come up for him. And he was in charge of God knows what. Looks like that center wing. Let's toss him down over there. The center wing's in pretty good shape right now with the rallies that it's been able to accomplish anyway. So we probably want to get it back into charge and moving against the front. And for the first time, we got to make a check on the explosion table. Now it takes an 8 or a 9 for this to happen, and I didn't get that. So we'll move on to turn 6. I'll keep Baden-Durlach under there and hopefully remember that he's not just wounded. I had a thought about these salvo markers with hedgehogs on the back. I don't know if any of the scenarios actually use salvos, but I think what's going on here, I looked at I just started clipping under the lily banners, and the same issue with only one bypass, and maybe you only need one, but no doubling of these is in play there. I think the general counter sheet for the markers, etc., it doesn't indicate, sheet number X of this game. It just says musket and pike. I think that's just being carried over from game to game, which is kind of cool. But if it prevents any kind of design screw ups, if that one's sufficient for just about anything, and they can maybe throw in a few extra open order counters for the more recent games which use them more, which maybe they did. I don't remember. It makes sense. I had been kind of wondering, it seems really unlikely we're going to use all these salvo counters. They're specifically not allowed in here in this scenario, or in any of the scenarios in here, but maybe some of the scenarios actually allow them. I don't know. It's tough to flip through. This has always been kind of an issue with the Musket and Pike series. The format that the scenarios are presented in, it's very, very space consuming in terms of telling you where to set up what units. A lot of historical note in there, which is kind of nice, but maybe not terribly necessary to most people. I know even I'm kind of, would rather see just a list of the units. Even if I kind of enjoy reading that, it's not that big a deal. Anyway, it's tough to find a ruling, a little point like, hey, do all the scenarios avoid the salvos? We'll see as we get into the other scenarios. Anyway, obviously I've taken a long break because it's dark now, and I gotta clean up and start my turn 6. And the Catholic Cav on the left flank sweeps down, hits the infantry here. They got 3 full activations, destroyed 1 unit, and now they're in make ready, kind of recovering. Tilly's back here recovering the rear unit. This defense, the Protestant defense, went next. They fired into some little areas where they have the ability to do so. The cannon shot through here with no effect. But I did manage to get kind of a bonus. If you roll an 8 or higher, you end up causing a formation hit in addition to everything. So I drove 1 unit back here and kind of knocked this one up a little bit over here. I'm not sure I've been paying attention to that every time. It's the modified die roll. So it's fairly likely with that additional +2. They're usually shooting at like +3 or +4. They usually get a hit. Okay, let's see what we got here. We finished things up with the center hitting in here. And didn't gain a lot of ground, although we did make a breakthrough down here through the pike wagons. Got a couple of things to do. One is we got to replace Baden, who's going to be an overall commander at this point. So I probably want to put him with this routing unit here. That'll give me the best chance of getting that back into play. And he's now the army commander for the Protestants. Then I got this check for an 8 or 9 to see if a wagon blows up. And it does not, so we move into turn 7. Well, the center wing got the next activation, still being in charge. I ended up dropping back to receive charge. I don't know if that was an immediate, I think so. Tilly came up, not really doing much good there. He left this cav, he's fixed it completely. The center unit got routed by all these musketeers in the front. This is the first time the defending musketeer line has really had a great advantage. They tried to reform in front of them and just got blasted by 3 units. They're below their casualty threshold and in a lot of trouble. And this unit is stuck back here, just can't move beyond this other heavy unit. So there's this problem where the center line is only really succeeding over here on the left flank. And we also have the cav up there, which will be moving next, I believe. Well, the cav command more or less destroyed the heavy infantry there, and this infantry, I think, may have pinned another one into place. But anyway, that's all been knocked out, but the commander, who's this here? Lintello, pursued them off the map, and we got another pursuit over here, and we'll check him in a moment. And then, well, over here, things didn't go too well for Cordoba's command. He's trying to rally also, and he ran back here. He's got a unit running away from the field. The Protestants were able to rally their one unit, but they're kind of filling in the gaps and trying to push that back. We get a check to see if the leader retreats off the map, and yeah, he's leaving. So that is my left wing commander, and I don't think I have anyone for that, so I got to come up with another colonel. Put him over here. He's gonna probably want to rally that. He's got another unit that can swerve in and do something, but he'd like to have both his cav in place. We also have to make our check for the Wimpfen. Not this turn. On to turn 8. Well, the Catholic cav here is now essentially a wiped out formation. It's stuck permanently in rally because the only unit it has is morale shaken. The colonel was attacking over here. Well, he charged up, routed the heavy infantry, but ended up getting so shot up and destroyed by the infantry. And he was also already permanently morale shaken, which means that unit can, as long as the whole command is morale shaken, it can never come out of rally. I don't think I've ever been in that situation before. I've seen games end where all the wings are in rally formation, but I don't think I've ever been in one where the entire wing, and I've seen ones where the wing was destroyed. Obviously this one, 2 wings have gone, but I don't think I've ever seen it get into this kind of position that I've noticed. It's kind of cute, just being constantly stuck in rally. We'll be going back over to the Protestants now. They don't have a lot they can do. They got to try to figure out how to hold this at bay, and swinging the units around is almost impossible. They could try advancing fire to get up here and try to start shooting up some of those heavy units, but then they'll be giving up this powerful line, and eventually the Catholic center would break through there. So they've got a troubled position. Well, turn 9 turns into turn 10, and Baden-Durlach was unable to, well, this guy was unable, Helmstadt or whatever, was unable to get a continuation. Baden-Durlach got swept away with that routing unit. He was trying to save it. I don't think that counts as putting him in the dead box. I don't know what to do with him, but he's not coming back. We got this unit over here that I have really nothing to do with, because if I could counter march that or march that down, it's actually safe from the cav now, so I probably do want to get it out of the town. It might serve some purpose in helping to defend. It's doing nothing over there. It was kind of anchoring that flank. Now that there's no cav to threaten it, I think it'll start heading down. Over here we see the Catholic center, which is really all that's left on their left flank, crunching into the thing. Once again, no explosion. And over here, the Spanish troops not doing such a great job, struggling to try to rally. We got some routing back here, which I forgot to move. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're shot up units, but you kind of don't want to let them off the field. They'll add to your hits. Unfortunately, we're kind of running out of time here. It's turn 10. There aren't that many turns left, but you really don't want to let your units run off the field, as it were. Anyhow, definitely having a much easier time with this than White Mountain. I feel more like I'd be able to go back to White Mountain soon and maybe coordinate that attack a little better, but this one's turning out a lot more interesting with those pike wagons. They're definitely causing a problem. The artillery up here is starting to shoot up those musketeers now that they don't have to deal with suppressing the Protestant artillery, they're able to turn their their firepower against the musketeers and may be able to break things up here so these units can start crunching in. You see, I managed to wheel this when I did a 180 turn and then swung it around, but it took some fire. I don't remember what broke its formation. Fire shouldn't do that. I can't recall. Anyway, it's in broken formation now. I'm not sure what did that. Alright, up it goes. I know what got it. Some of the artillery was able to trace right down the spine, right down the line there, and get grazing fire into there. Yeah.